The other two of us just kind of like sit back and go, wow. At any rate, can I share screen?
Yes, I just made you co-host. So
Okay. All right. I'm going to start out by sharing screen here and basically introduce what we were doing way back earlier this year. A friend, Bentley Ousley, who's in Kansas City, mentioned to us that he had produced this great fractal show, which is called Once in Future Cities, and that he was producing it with VR content. And so let me pull that down there so it's not quite so loud. You can obviously do all kinds of cool, things in Once in Future Cities, and it is super cool. But at the same time, Liz was also working on doing virtual Skytalks for the museum once COVID started. So if I go over here, we're going to get to what happens. And that is, she was doing one about once a week. In the discussions with Bentley and looking at his VR, Bentley mentioned that he would really love to do something like Liz's Skytalk, but do it in VR so that you can look around. So what I'm going to do is just to pull it up here, and you can see there she is. And so it is.
Feel free to take your mouse and just drag the image around. You can look up, down, and all around.
Note the observatory over there.
Well, summer is well underway, and that means night after night we can see more and more of the summer evening sky. Now, spring is my favorite season, but summer brings my favorite sky. So let's go check out what the sky looks like sometime in mid-July around 10 p.m. If we look high up in the southeast, there is a very large triangle in the sky. Now, normally I would poke fun at a pattern of stars shaped like a triangle because...
Okay, you get the idea. So that's basically what happened. I'm going to turn it over at this point. I'm going to stop sharing and turn it over to Liz to just basically tell why she wanted to do this.
Okay, so just real quick, as Jack mentioned, we were doing, so for the museum, we toyed around with the idea of doing full-length Sky Talks or just little shorts, and we opted for just a little short every week, just as a way to just remind the community that we still exist, kind of going back to what Rod Kennedy was saying earlier, where it's just keeping up a connection with the community, reminding them we exist, and encouraging them to come see us when it's safe to do so. And so it's kind of like a Sky Tour sampler. And I was just doing that using Stellarium because that's all I had access to from home. I was just doing that just a 5-minute target, little short snippet a week. And then we asked Bentley about VR, and he got us into this VR project and said, hey, let's try to do this in VR. So basically, I just wrote a 5-minute little quick tour of a triangle, tour of the summer triangle, and shot the video against a green screen that we had in one of our, in our Blockbuster gallery. It's a store, it's just a wall that has just painted green. Shot that there, and Bentley did all of the work putting it together. So I just had a bit part in there, but the whole idea is just to give people, remind them that we exist and say, hey, hope to see you in person sometime soon. And I have had people for the Sky Tour shorts, people have never been to the planetarium before, but they saw it and it made them want to come. So when Rod said that people will come, they will come back. So it's not a replacement for what we do under the dome, but it definitely just, gives them a sampler of what we do. Because a lot of people don't really understand what the live sky is, and at least at my museum, it doesn't get a lot of promotion. So this was a way to kind of help promote ourselves. And so I've had families tell me that they've never been to the planetarium before, but they wanted to come. One family came and saw all all 3 shows for the day. One guy was super paranoid about the pandemic, so he put on the most elaborate like hazmat suit I have seen anybody come in through our doors wearing, and he braved the outdoors so that he could come to the theater because he really wanted to see the show. So it worked, and I'm happy for him that he was the only person in that show, so he got a private show too, so he felt super safe. But anyway, so that's just a little explanation of why do it. So hopefully more people.
And you can point out, Liz just said, they are open. They've been open since June 2nd, I believe.
Yes, we've been open for a couple months.
So take it away, Bentley.
All right, I need somebody to make me a co-host so I can share my screen.
You are a co-host. You should be able to screen. You should be able to.
Host disable participant screen sharing. Let's see, am I there? No, not yet. No, host disable participant screen sharing is the message I'm getting.
Check, because are you on twice, Bentley?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, you're going to have to, I'm
select
on
the
work
right
with
one.
my workstation, and then I have one that actually does video and audio. So whichever one you enabled before, enable the other one now.
Okay, you should be set now.
Okay, let's give it another try here. Okay, I think we're going now. Okay, are you able to see my screen now?
There you go.
Very cool. Okay, let me rearrange things here just a little bit. All right, so everybody's able to see this. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to do part of my screen because I have to flip over to the After Effects template from time to time, so forgive me for that. Okay, I'm going to run through a card deck just so we can cover the different elements that we wanted to cover. So our presentation is called How We Developed an Immersive VR Skytalk and How You Can Too. We focused the project on trying to create something that would be usable for a lot of different people. So we wanted a customizable virtual environment, and we focused on the workflow it would take for someone else in order for them to do this and understand what we're doing. So we tried to simplify it whenever possible. Jack has, I think they might have put up the link to the video if somebody wants to watch it. The best way to see that is within a VR headset. So if you have that, then that would be the best way to watch it. Let's see, why do it? Well, Liz went into that a bit. Some of it is just helping to promote the planetarium when it might not be foremost in everyone's mind. So we aimed it as an easy entree into a subject that can be complex. So it's a subject that some planetariums feel the need to explore, but maybe don't know how to get started with doing. So that was our objective. How it works. All right. Okay, I'm going to dive in just a little bit to some of the theory, but I won't go too deeply in this. Okay, the standard method of producing VR content is based on equirectangular projection. And this involves taking a 360 by 360 video or content, a sphere, and representing it as a flat rectangle. I thought of an example that you run into all the time where this is done, and that is the globe of the Earth. And that is, here's an equirectangular map of the Earth. So here we have a sphere that's represented as a rectangle. The North Pole, which would ordinarily be a point, runs completely across the upper edge. South Pole runs completely across the bottom edge. So that's where your maximum distortion occurs. And the equator is hardly any distortion. So if we go over to, I can hear somebody typing furiously. Okay, so here's an equirectangular map of the Skytalk VR environment. So we see here the zenith, which is ordinarily a point. Then that is a line at the top. and that is representing what the North Pole will be on the globe. Likewise, a nadir, South Pole, would ordinarily be a point. There's a line here. And you notice that the distortion gets a little more intense as you move upward. But if we look at Liz here, which is in the center, hardly any distortion at all. Okay, so so we use the VR360 tools in Adobe After Effects, and what we want to do is create something that's modular, something that can easily be changed, where people can put their content in the template. So the main work area within After Effects, that is a 8,192 by 4,096 equirectangular composition. And compositions within After Effects are like organizational tools that they use to combine the video, audio, text, and animations, and they create a viewable movie, and you can use that movie to assess your project in real time. So when I say composition, just think of it as a video or sub-video. And so the compositions, what I tried to do was organize these in ways where you can easily find the different elements that you're looking for in order to do this. So what we're going to do now is, here is a slide, and I just included this for when I'm not presenting, that you won't have the template up in front of you, obviously. So so I included these so someone could refer back to them. But what we're going to do is look at the stuff that you can change within the template in order to put your own content into it. The primary components, 3 primary components. Astra, these are just arbitrary names that I give. Astra is the sky and any animations that are projected on the sky. Terra is the horizon, ground, and any localized overlays. And then the presenter video is the video performance of the host presenter placed in the VR environment. And that was shot against a green screen, is how we got Liz into the environment. And I thought a good way to demonstrate that might be to go into the different compositions and then take away elements from the whole in order for you to understand how these all combine into the VR environment. And with that, now I'm going to go over to the After Effects template, and here is what we use to create the Skytalk with Liz. What we're going to do is, down here you can see these are our 3 main compositions: Astra, Terra, and then the presenter video. So we're going to click on Astra, and then everything goes away except the sky, which is what we wanted to see here. What we have here is, if you think back to the equirectangular map of the globe, then this represents the top 180 degrees of the globe. This section, the part that isn't blacked out. So if you think about that, you think, oh, that's what a planetarium dome would project, and that's exactly right. Because if we look down here, we can see that we're actually converting a fisheye full dome, a dome master, into this section of the VR template. So if we click on sky, then this may look familiar. This is actually a 4K dome master. So what you can do is, if you can generate a dome master, you can place that content easily within this VR template. So that was our goal, was to make this so it's something that you're familiar with, and yet kind of eases you into something that you might not be so familiar with. So that is sky. So let's go back to the main template here. And then there are projections that are done on top of this. But if you create the whole video, you can move that in one block as a full dome master, and it will work. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to do is Terra, which is basically anything that's not the sky or the presenter. So when we click on that, and we see the elements here. First of all is the ground, the part you're standing on, the localized content, the branding. There's some localized elements you can put into this scene too, and I'll show you that. So if we go over to Park Panorama, you can see that this is zoomed into the observatory, which is actually the my local observatory for the club, which is the Astronomical Society of Kansas City. This is Powell Observatory. And in order to make this a little more interesting, instead of having a static image, we have, if you watch, I can turn these on and off. I put some animated people in it, so it gives you the impression that there's something going on over here. Okay, we go to now if we go one more step further in, then this is the whole panorama. That observatory is that is inserted into the scene, so you can see I can turn that on and off, and you can insert your own localized content on there if you want. Okay. Okay, so in Terra. Okay, cardinal directions that's pretty self-explanatory. Because the way that this is formatted, you can this believes it's in a sphere, so you can actually move this, and if something pops out in one thing, it comes in over on the other side. So it believes that it is actually a sphere. So if you, for instance, if we wanted to move this and change the cardinal directions, let's say I put in 110 degrees, and if you watch the lettering, and that rotates to however you want that. So that's easy to change if you want to change the directions to match your sky animation or your local content. Okay, let's go to Grastra, because everybody knows the opposite of Astra is Grastra. So we go to this basically contains, if this is what you would see if you're looking straight down. So the area that you typically would be standing on. Here we have some localized branding. So this is the South Carolina State Museum, which Liz works at, and which she's producing her content. I produced a video based on her Star Talk for the local club ASKC. So I have the ASKC branding, and it's simple to swap it out like that. The idea behind this is that everything is easy to swap out that you need in order to make your own content. Okay. Okay, so we've gone through that. Now the presenter video. What we did here is I promised Liz I would give her a dignified freeze frame here. So let's find one. There, that's dignified enough. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay, so what we did here is this was filmed against a green screen. They have within their museum a built-in green screen, so, and illumination for that. So this is just masked out, and then we did the keying in order to make that work. Also, we wanted to dim it and desaturate it so it fit into the darkened environment. So that's the actual level of illumination, and then that is the dark illumination. So that is how that is done. The presenter audio was captured. You can see on her lapel mic here, and we used a smartphone and recorded that separately, and then that's just synced up. Just helps eliminate the background things that you would get if you had a camera that was, say, 10 or 12 feet away. Okay, and now I'm ready to go back to the PowerPoint. Bear with me just a second. Okay, and I've gone through all this, so that may look familiar. Presenter video, and okay, how we do it, and what you're going to need. If you want to actually so as we're making the template available, so you can take this template, if you have the current version of Adobe After Effects, you can put in your own content, still have the screen animations, and then you can read the script off of the teleprompter in front of a green screen, and you can put yourself into that environment. So that's a good entree into doing this if you have an interest in doing it. So what you're going to need, you need a camera. Actually, if you've got something capable of 1080p at 30 frames per second, most modern smartphones will do it. You need a green screen setup. Those are I was surprised at how reasonably priced they are. I got my green screen set up from Amazon with lighting, with all the tripods, the back support for the green screen cloth, everything you need to do that for around $100 from Amazon. So Jack and Liz, as I say, they had a pre-existing green screen. Audio recording, we used a lavalier mic going into a smartphone, and then just hid the smartphone on the body. And we used a Rode smart lav mic, which plugs right into a smartphone jack. You need a method to prompt the presenter, and what we used a slightly different process. What I did was I used two different prompters, one right immediately under the camera, and then I used a tablet set at the angle that the person would look up at the night sky for the object. So they could always be reading the script regardless of whether they were facing the night sky or the. And then I used the closed captioning text in YouTube. So if you put a video out there, you can easily edit the script however you want. Say you do a video of your sky animation, then just put your script in that, and then that works as a good teleprompter and keeps you in sync with the presentation. Let's see, Jack, you used a little different method, is that correct?
Yeah, basically we were much simpler because there was not room in that area where the green screen is. It's actually in a gift shop. So what we had to do was I set up the camera on a tripod. Notice it's portrait mode, and then right below it, or right in front of the camera tripod, I had my laptop, which was playing the captions, so she could look straight. And this was one, and Liz would say it, she had pretty much memorized the script, so even looking away wasn't a problem.
Yeah, and here's my ghetto setup here. So here's the setup that I got from Amazon, which is the back bar, which supports the cloth, and here's my iPad. And I didn't get a shot of Dan Johnson from ASKC read this script, and but his head would be about right here, and then we figured the angle up to the summer triangle was about like this. And so here's my Pixel 3 that I use for the camera smartphone, and then here's a monitor that sets just below that. So when Dan was at the screen facing the monitor, he got the script from that. We just synced these up manually. We had a countdown on the front of the video, 3, 2, 1, and then we both synced and worked just like a professional setup for teleprompting. Okay. Okay, when you've created your content, after you've captured your StarTalk performance and you want to move it into the After Effects, and the first thing you have to do is get your video and your audio onto the workstation that contains After Effects. You do importing of the video and audio, do replace of the presenter video and audio, then synchronize the video, audio, and template, and make sure then that the presenter composition matches the sky animation. Do tests, and then at that point, you do the render to VR video, and I've got that in the speaker's notes, but I didn't want to spend time going into that. So if you are seriously interested in this, we'll do some Zoom meetings where we can coach you through some of the points of doing this if you have an interest. Upload the VR video to YouTube. And you can also create your own unique StarTalk, like we were talking about. You will be able to take your Dome Master Sky video and put it right into the template, and then green screen your own StarTalk. So you can do your own custom StarTalk if you want. Okay, and so how does the public see this? And what we did, which we're using YouTube as a media delivery system because we don't have to maintain anything. People can go out to the link, and they can view it in several different ways. And the best way to do is a dedicated VR headset. If you don't have that, a smartphone-based VR device like Google Cardboard, you can easily use that using the YouTube VR app. tablets are nice because if you have an iPad, it becomes like a window into that world. You can move that tablet around, and it's just like you're in the universe looking through a window with that. And browsers, almost all modern browsers will allow you to drag the view, like Jack was doing. You'll be able to drag the view around. What it can be, well, we've talked about this a bit, and we thought if we kicked this off and there were enough people interested, maybe we could have kind of a cooperative effort. If we have a standard method of doing this, then we can, if people want to create VR Star Talks, they can share online, and it gives everybody a chance to have a localized version of their Star Talk if they want to do that. And that was our thought when we did this, is if we share this, maybe other people will feel good about sharing their own content, and everybody wins. How can I help? Contact us. We're planning on doing some other Zoom meetings. If there's an interest in doing this, we'll be glad to walk you through how to do it, how we did it, how we got around some of the issues. But we're glad to share that with you.
And to explain, Bentley is making the template, the AE, available. So anybody, it's free. You can just take it and go. You could replace different presenter. You could be, you could change the sky to Southern Hemisphere. You could, whatever you want to do, but he's going to make it available.
Yeah. And just some of the things, just recruit and support individuals that are interested, set up other Zoom conferences, maybe create a list group if there's enough interest so people can share their techniques and what they're doing. Distributing the template, we're still figuring that out. Right now, you downloaded it today. What is about 5.5 gig? Is that right?
It was about 4.5 gig in the zipped file. It opens up to be about 8.
And of course, that includes the Dome Master within that, and all of the other stuff and the animation and whatnot. And speaking of that, one of the things we were talking about, it used to be, and I don't know why this changed, but it used to be that you could upload 8K VR content onto YouTube. And I've done that before, because Once and Future Cities, the trailer for that is in 8K. And so I know that was available at one point, but it is not available anymore. It looks like 4K is what they're allowing you to do. I mean, it's a quarter of the space for them to store 4K as 8K. So I kind of understand that. But anyway, one plan is, if we can make it happen, is maybe do a 4K lower res After Effects template. Theoretically, it'll take a lot less time to render, and it will allow people to edit it more easily without having that huge 8K expanse of screen. Okay, and so I'm going to turn it over to questions. Looks like we're out of time, but
if there are questions, and as Bentley said, he's willing to share it. He's with the Astronomical Society of Kansas City, and and go check out Once and Future Cities too, because it's pretty amazing.
Thank you very much, Bentley. Looking forward to seeing a lot more of this. And we are now ready for our final presenter for WAC, John Keller.
Yes, indeed.
thanks.
So I now...
Yeah, okay, I'm going to stop sharing. There we go. Okay.
So I guess I should go back to my presentation. You're all seeing my PowerPoint slides, yes?
Yes, looks good.